What is going on, everybody? I am back today because the list of the 2024 Oscar nominations has just come out. And last year, I did a few videos on the Oscars. I ranked the movies that were being nominated for the Academy Awards. I'll probably do something similar this year. But as I said at the beginning of those videos, I don't really take the Oscars seriously because I don't feel like the Oscars really take themselves all that seriously. Every year when these awards and nominations get announced, I'm always kind of baffled that we're supposed to believe that people that are film lovers and connoisseurs of film and people who spend their time and effort and energy watching movies and really trying to put best films out there at the forefront are the ones making the decisions for this. Because every single year I'm really surprised at the amount of films that get zero recognition, that don't get talked about. I'm always blown away by the lack of people of color that are nominated. I'm always blown away by the lack of women who are nominated in categories like Best Director. It just seems like more of the same every year. And I will say, with the recent Academy Award, where Everything Everywhere All at Once took a lot of awards away, it was really great to see a film with such a diverse cast that had a really powerful message about family and about personal growth, and just all of these really incredible themes in that movie won so many awards. And I was happy for it, but at the same time, you know, the Oscars are typically up to more of the same. There have been so many years in the past where I've just been disappointed by the nominations. And so I thought today I would go through some of the bigger categories, talk about the nominations with you, and just kind of give my brief thoughts and opinions on them. So for starters here, we have actress in a leading role. We have Annette Bening for Nyad, Lily Gladstone for Killers of the Flower Moon, Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan, Maestro, and Emma Stone for Poor Things. I'm not really surprised by any of these nominations except for probably Annette Bening. I haven't really heard anything positive about this film since it's released. Most of the reviews have been incredibly mediocre, and I feel like every year for the Oscars, we get one movie that gets put in the midst of all of these other films that isn't up to the quality of some of these other films. And what I'm really surprised with Annette Bening being added in here, Past Lives got nominated for a few Academy Awards, which we'll talk about, but Greta Lee didn't get an actress in a leading role performance, which blows me away because she was absolutely incredible in that film. She just gave an amazing, nuanced performance that was very impressive. I also am really surprised not to see Kaylee Spaney on here for Priscilla. I thought her performance was absolutely incredible, one of the most understated performances of the entire year. And I haven't seen Nyad yet, and I also haven't seen Maestro, so I can't really comment on either of those performances. I will say the other three performances on here, Emma Stone gave probably one of my favorite performances of the year. She is the front runner for me in this category. I thought that she was amazing. Lily Gladstone also was phenomenal. Sandra Huller was great, and I could see any of the three of them winning this award, but honestly, if I was going to pick one right off the cuff, I'm thinking it's going to be Lily Gladstone or Emma Stone is going to take this one away. Up next is actor in a leading role. We have Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction. This category, I mean, there's a couple of surprises on there. Coleman Domingo's nomination for Rustin. I hadn't even heard of this film. I'm definitely going to check it out before the Oscar shows up. Still haven't seen Maestro. I've heard people compliment Bradley Cooper's performance, but I haven't heard a lot of great things about the film. Oppenheimer, obviously Cillian Murphy is going to be a front runner. I was not a fan of Oppenheimer. I made a whole video on it, but I do think his performance was fantastic. I've heard great things about Jeffrey Wright, and my front runner for this category right here would be Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers. I absolutely loved his performance in this film. I thought that he was great. I do think Teo Yu from Past Lives should have gotten a nomination for this. I thought his performance was absolutely incredible. Really, his chemistry with Greta Lee was amazing. I could 100% see him getting a Best Actor nomination, and I'm really shocked that he didn't get one. I think the biggest snub here, in my personal opinion, is Zac Efron for The Iron Claw. Zac Efron's Efron's performance, one of the best performances by an actor all year long. I really have no idea how he didn't get a nomination. I know the film came out relatively late in the year, but his performance was transformative. I look at all of these people on this list, and obviously I haven't seen a few of the films, but when I think about a best actor performance, I'm thinking of someone who is transformative, who is completely and totally living and breathing a character. And Zac Efron's role in The Iron Claw was exactly that, so I'm really upset to not see him on this list. For supporting actor, we have Sterling K. Brown for American Fiction, De Niro for Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. for Oppenheimer, Gosling for Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo for Poor Things. I'm kind of surprised not to see Willem Dafoe on this list for Poor Things as well, but I would say of these nominees, still haven't seen American Fiction yet, but I've seen all the other movies on this list. A lot of people were talking about Robert Downey Jr.'s performance from Oppenheimer. I didn't think it was all that special. To me, it felt like Robert Downey Jr. playing himself. The moments that he was on screen were some of the most uninteresting elements of that entire film, and I don't see him being the front runner for this. Robert De Niro was not my favorite part of Killers of the Flower Moon. He was fine, but once again, not really a transformative performance. I just kind of saw Robert De Niro playing a Robert De Niro role in that film. I would say my front runners for this are going to be Ryan Gosling and Mark Ruffalo. I loved both of their performances. I was really surprised by Mark Ruffalo in this film. He was just so out there and wild, really took a lot of risks with his performance, and I loved it. And obviously, Ryan Gosling's performance for Barbie was just transformative and hilarious, and he lived and breathed that role. He really made that movie fantastic to watch. I loved his performance in it, and I would be okay with either one of them winning this award. Up next is supporting actress. We have Emily Blunt for Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks for The Color Purple, America Ferrera for Barbie, Jodie Foster for Niad, and Divine Joy Randolph for The Holdovers. I can't believe that we did not get a Margot Robbie nomination for Barbie, and America Ferrera was nominated. America Ferrera was great in the movie. I thought she did an amazing job, but I really cannot believe that we did not get a Margot Robbie nomination. She is the forefront of the film. She is what makes the film work. She is the reason Barbie exists. She's one of the producers of the film. Her performance was incredible, and so it's really wild to see America Ferrera on this list, but not see Margot Robbie on this list for Best Actress. It really kind of took me by surprise. But as far as the other nominations, as I said, Niad, I have not seen that movie. I haven't really heard a lot of great things about it. The Color Purple I've heard is fantastic. I still have not seen it yet, so I want to see Danielle Brooks' performance for that movie. Emily Blunt was fine. I mean, she plays a female character in a Christopher Nolan movie. She's kind of a background character. She has a couple of moments that were all right, but really there wasn't anything spectacular about her performance that I would see her winning an award for it. America Ferrera was really good. I liked her monologue in Barbie a lot. I thought she was really great in that sequence. But Divine Joy Randolph is who has this award for me in my heart. I loved The Holdovers, and she was one of my favorite parts of the movie. Her performance was incredible. She was so committed. She had amazing emotional moments. I just really loved her performance in that movie a lot, and I would love to see her win that award. Up next is animated feature film. We have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I have seen 4 of the 5 of these movies, and I would say for my personal favorite, I loved Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I know a lot of people love that movie. The animation style is incredible. I loved everything about it, but personally, my pick for this is The Boy and the Heron. I love the originality of it. I love how beautiful the animation was. It's crazy to see a 2D hand-drawn animated film on the big screen. There's just something so incredible about that, and I respect the hell out of Across the Spider-Verse for its animation style, and I love the way that it looks, and I would be okay if it won. I really would love to see The Boy and the Heron win. Elemental was okay. I think people were really hard on that movie, but it's not anything special in Disney's catalog. And then Nimona was a really cool movie that I enjoyed watching. I thought it was a lot of fun. I thought it was really entertaining, but personally, like, it doesn't stack up to The Boy and the Heron or Across the Spider-Verse. For cinematography, we have El Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. So for this, I'm I'm really surprised to not see like an Asteroid City nomination on here, or even like Ari Aster's Beau is Afraid. There were a ton of movies that were released last year that had incredible cinematography. It's always really interesting to me to see how limited the list is for cinematography every single year. I haven't seen El Conde and I haven't seen Maestro, but I've seen the other 3 films on this list, and I would say, for me personally, the most beautiful and just immersive cinematography was Poor Things. I love the contrast of the black and white and the color. I thought that it worked really well together. There's great utilization of the frame. The production design in this movie was absolutely incredible, and the cinematography just attributed to the production design. I could see Oppenheimer winning this too because people really like the cinematography in that movie, but I had a hard time appreciating the cinematography because of the chaotic and bombastic editing that became really obnoxious after a while. So I would prefer to see Poor Things. Killers of the Flower Moon had decent cinematography. I enjoyed it, but Poor Things is going to be the front runner for me in this one. Best Director, we have Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Nolan for Oppenheimer, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, and Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. This is one of those categories, as I said, that it just kind of blows me away. I don't know how Greta Gerwig did not get a nomination for this category. Barbie was the biggest movie of the year this year, and there is a lot of recognition for Barbie, but you're kind of taking away from the whole reason the movie was made by not nominating Greta Gerwig. I mean, the movie wouldn't be the same without her direction, and it really is kind of just a slap on the face, in my opinion, to all the work that she put into that movie to not see her nomination. Also, the fact that Celine Song did not get nominated for Past Lives is infuriating. That movie is incredible. I'm really glad to see Justine Triet get a nomination for Anatomy of a Fall because I feel like women don't get nominated enough. I mean, shit, Sofia Coppola should have been nominated for Priscilla. There are a ton of incredible female directors that put out amazing movies last year, and it's just really heartbreaking to constantly just see men in this category. Like, it's really not versatile whatsoever. Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. The Zone of Interest still hasn't come around near me yet, but I can't wait to watch it because I love Jonathan Glazer. So I would be fine if that won. Poor Things is my standout. I would really like to see Lanthimos win an Academy Award. I think he's one of the best directors working. As I said, I'm not an Oppenheimer fan. I feel like Oppenheimer is a run-of-the-mill biopic that doesn't really do anything new or unique. You don't really learn anything more about Oppenheimer as a person. The whole idea of, like, should a person have the capability to create this weapon that can destroy all of humanity, it's not very interesting. It's very one note, and it didn't need to be 3 hours long. And I don't know, Nolan didn't do anything new for me in this movie. It just feels very run-of-the-mill. It feels very Oscar baity. I'm sure he's the front runner for this category, but I would rather see Lanthimos, Glazer, Triet, or Scorsese win. I loved Anatomy of a Fall, Poor Things, and Killers of the Flower Moon more than Oppenheimer, and I'm sure I'll like Zone of Interest more. There's a lot more categories I could talk about for this video, but I just want to talk about one more. I want to quickly discuss Best Picture. So Best Picture nominations, we have American Fiction and Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. There really is not any surprises here whatsoever. There are a ton of movies that I could go through a list and give you that I think 100% deserve nominations for this category, but like I said, I get very narrow-minded when they discuss their nominations. I feel like we get the same type of movies over and over again that are nominated. In this list, there's a lot of really great movies that came out in that year. I haven't seen American Fiction yet, but I would be fine if Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Past Lives, or Poor Things won. I still haven't seen Zone of Interest, but I'm sure that'll make its way on the list. I know a lot of people think Oppenheimer is the front runner for this category. I don't think that it's the front runner for this category. I think there's a lot more interesting films that were made this year. And I mean, even if you look like biopic territory, I think Killers of the Flower Moon is far more interesting and compelling than Oppenheimer is. I could totally see Barbie winning this just because of how culturally significant it was this year. I could see Poor Things winning this because of how great of a reaction it got and how unique and different of a movie that it was. But it'll be interesting to see what ends up on top, and I'll have to make a video once the winners are announced. What are your thoughts on the Oscar nominations this year? Let me know in the comments. As I said, I'm relatively disappointed in a lot of the nominations. I feel like it's the same type of thing that we go through every year where a lot of great talent is overlooked, but I'd be interested to hear what you think anyway. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.